Serious, what's the most disturbing, scary post you've seen here on Reddit? I read about it in a AskReddit thread yesterday. It was a link to a bunch of posts about guys trying to contract AIDS and spreading the disease around, giving AIDS to unsuspecting men by telling them they are negative when they are not, breaking condoms, etc. This wording is putting it extremely mildly. Those posts are going to be burned into my brain way longer than I'd prefer. My grandmother contracted HIV from a blood transfusion in 1990 and died of AIDS 4 years later. It was absolutely terrible and was an extremely hard time for my family, an awful experience, something that changed our lives forever. It absolutely horrifies and enrages me that there is this fucked up subculture of people spreading it around and purposely trying to infect others. What the fuck? I remember a short comic strip that gotten uploaded from Imager to either copyright symbol, are creepy, or are no sleep, where people that have been drawn to a mountain that has human-shaped holes in the side and each one fits a different person. When somebody enters said hole, they cannot turn around since that it fits them perfectly and can't move backwards. Now at the end it shows 2 police officers noticed people were coming through as pieces of human spaghetti. Edit. Thanks to 2 people, the post is the enigma of Amigara Fall. Cheers lads. One time I saw in BoJack Horseman that this guy had posted that he wanted to know whether the show was written by feminists, because if it was, he didn't want to watch the show. Sad and kinda funny, it wasn't that big a deal, but I wanted to see what type of person would hate women so much that he didn't want to watch a cartoon because of it. So I went through his account history. And it was just so sad to see what type of person he was. It was Trump subreddits and incels and deep throat porn, etc. But that wasn't the creepy part. He has asked a question to our answers asking what the chances of getting caught downloading something off the deep web if it was illegal. And people were like, WTF kind of illegal videos, are you getting off tour? And then if you scroll down more in his history, you see him asking, what makes pedophilia a bad thing? And like, he was probably downloading CP, and this kid is in high school, going by what he's posted, and he's already so angry at the world and poisoning his life, and it was just scary to see that this was a real-life person. Just last night, happened upon some post in I'm going to hell for this off or. Scrolled through the random comments. Found a dude who's a legitimate pedophile, and pretty much every one of his comments everywhere he went was him getting into arguments with people over why pedophilia is a-okay. The shitty part is that I constantly see this stuff totally ignored, justified, played off by thousands of people every day saying, oh, it's whatever, board a website, that's normal for there, they are just role-playing, it's got to be fake, it's just the internet, variations on that theme. Stop asking questions, stop worrying about others, stop giving a shit about anyone or anything. The effects of that number of people who not only willfully ignore stuff like this, but also actively encourage others to ignore it as well, can already be seen all over the internet. Everyone's always been told to just ignore trolls and they'll go away, and over the past 10 years, also that same advice has since extended to active stalking harassment campaigns and school shooters or rapists, etc. posting their plans online. It's fucking poisonous. It's like bystander syndrome has turned into an absolute rule that everyone abides by now. A lot of the posts in 4chan are pretty disturbing. I saw one this weekend filled with homophobia, misogyny, rape and murder jokes, and other forms of hatred that indicate being a mentally unstable sociopath, but under the impression it's funny, cause other people's pain always is to those who suffer greatly from personality disorders and other mental illness. It's actually disgusting as fuck and part of the darknet culture, and I don't know why it's allowed to continue on Reddit. As I'm a prostate cancer survivor, like many others, I suffered from urinary incontinence following the surgical removal of my prostate. So I was looking to see if there was a Reddit sub for others who suffered from incontinence and had any tips on how to deal with it. This caused me to stumble upon our incontinent desire, don't look for it, it has been since removed, a sub for people who were trying to toilet train themselves. It was a while back, but I remember being deeply disturbed by a post this guy made in our confessions. It consisted of him confessing to breeding parasites and getting off to transmitting said parasites to innocent people through various ways. One disturbing way he transmitted the parasites was by sneakily slipping them in at buffet where unknowing customers ate parasite-infested food and got severely ill. He even went as far as to call the parasites he bred as his babies. I've seen some pretty fucked up shit on Reddit during my time, but that particular post definitely takes the cake for one of the most disturbing posts I've ever seen. There was a post by a teenage girl who walked in on her parents having sex on the living room couch. Her mom was wearing the girl's favorite dress and looked like she was role-playing the daughter. The girl ran out and stayed over with a friend. Later the mother said that yes, she and the dad were role-playing that the mother was the daughter having sex with the father. They had been doing it for some time and the mom had worn 3 of the daughter's dresses and a couple of pajama sets, but it was okay because the mom laundered them afterward. As of the post, the girl had seen her mom only that once and not the father at all and had moved in with her friend's family. There was so much wrong there. Back when gore, snuff videos, and death videos was still a thing. Forgive my ignorance if it is, but anyway, I was new to Reddit circa 2015-ish. Didn't know what I was getting into. The first thread opened on one of those dark subs. A young girl, maybe 8 or 9, crying in her backyard, apologizing to her parents, her family, into a camera, probably a camcorder. As she steps up into a noose she made herself, and proceeds to hang herself, as she kicks the stool or chair away, immediate regret fills her eyes as she struggles. I fast-forwarded hoping someone finds her, cuts her down, there is a hug, all is well. Nope, the rest of the video is just hours of her lifeless body swinging alone. I will never forget this, and I hope others reading this are in a spot where they feel they need to end it. I invite you to DM me because you are not alone, and while death is inevitable, it doesn't have to be because of a split decision, or an emotional whirlwind that overtakes you for a moment, or a season. Everyone's commenting about stuff they read on. No sleep, but the most disturbing post LVE seen on Reddit was by a father desperately trying to monitor his daughter's sexual activity, what she wears, etc. He even had a gynecologist friend break her hymen when she was 14 years old just because he said, "Any man who isn't me will do it wrong. And since it's wrong, or whatever, to have relations with her, I took care of it." The daughter was about 20 at the time of the post. He deleted it shortly after he got some hate, but it never got much attention. I can't remember on which subreddit he posted it. I read this post yesterday in Am I the Asshole? A guy was so insecure of his security blanket that he actually destroyed it. Mind you, it's not like this lady took it everywhere with her. She just had it around the house for long days after work. Well, this guy first asks if she would get rid of it. And at first, she compromises and keeps it out of his eyesight. Well, that wasn't enough for him. In his mind, even if he couldn't see it, the fact she still had it pissed him off. So eventually one day, while she was at work, this guy decides to burn the blanket. And even worse, he was proud he did it. Well, this girl comes home and starts looking frantically for the blanket. She asks him where it was, and at first he denies knowing where it is. But he gets worried he might get found out. So he tells her it's in the trash, thinking that will be the end of it. Well, he didn't count on the lady actually digging through the trash to try to find it, and so in hopes of trying to get her to move on, he goes and buys her a new blanket. He gives it to his wife, and as expected, she wasn't as thrilled as he had hoped she would, and he gets offended and says it was just a stupid blanket, and she should get over it. Well, all the wheels start turning and she realizes what has happened. And once she asks, he finally tells her everything, and that it was all her fault for making a big deal out of a blanket. Well, she ends up packing, and this guy just unloads on her, asking if she's really going to throw away a 2-year relationship over a stinky old blanket. Mind you, this was a gift from her childhood. And now he came to Reddit, asking if he really did something wrong. Little side note, he had been asking Reddit to help him lie to his significant other so he can still look like the good guy. Honestly, this is probably one of the worst cases of narcissism I have ever seen. I will never be able to find the post again, but it was on a fetish sub where the women are drawn as foods. Like the girl will be a cooked pig with an apple in her mouth type of thing. Anyways, there was a post of Lois Griffin, and her boobs were burgers. It was titled, simply, Lois Burger Incoming. I think about it every fucking day. The one where this guy tries meth. Said he was only gonna try it once and ended up getting addicted. Anything on rape confessions. Or suicide watch, but I haven't browsed in 5 years, so IDK if it's still up. Just a sad sub, really. The maggot girl. She liked having sex in dumpsters or something and had maggots in her vagina, although I think she left them there on purpose. Son rapes his dog, told by the father, whose wife then leaves with their son after the father told her. I think it was a civil divorce, but I'm not sure. This is arguably less disturbing because it's entirely fictional, but I didn't see anyone mention the persona guy. Basically, there was a guy in the persona subreddit who would regularly comment on random unrelated posts about extremely depraved things regarding the characters. Like what he thought each girl's urine would taste like, what their reactions to being raped would be, what they would taste like if you killed and ate them. They were all very long, like 2 to 3 paragraphs for each girl, and very detailed. Also, he'd end each one with something to the effect of "I don't know, what do you think?" which was actually kind of hilarious in a really morbid way. Like someone was actually going to debate him on what Yukiko's piss tasted like. No, I don't have any links. Aside from the coconut story, probably the one where a girlfriend went on True Off My Chest complaining that her boyfriend had cheated on her. When she described the circumstances, it became clear that her boyfriend had been raped. The fact that she could not see, until about 1,000 of us pointed it out, that her boyfriend's behavior was that of someone who was traumatized by being raped while drunk at a party, is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I will never understand how grown people do not or will not understand that men can be raped just like women can, that women can be rapists, and that the man is no more to blame for what happened to him than a woman who is raped is to blame. In her update, she said she was horrified that she didn't see that herself. She went to her boyfriend and told him he had her total support, and she would have his back if he decided to report to the police. So the ending was good, but the fact that she had to be led there by so many people is just depressing. I think about her boyfriend often and I hope that he's doing okay. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this one.